If you still don't know how to do your base so it looks seamless and soft and not patchy or cakey, then this video is for you. In this video, we'll be going through how to get a good base and also a bonus eyeshadow tutorial as well. Starting off with foundation. This is after you've done your skin prep. So if you want a full video on how to do your skin prep, then comment skin prep below and I will film that and upload it as soon as possible. Subscribe, like, comment as well so you can keep in touch. But moving on to how to do your foundation, the first thing you want to make sure of is that your foundation is the same skin color and undertone as your skin. Now, if you have some discoloration between your neck and your face, match to your neck. As you can see, I don't have that, so I'm okay with matching it to my face. And as you can see, the match is incredible. I'm using the Lancôme Tit Idol Ultra Wear Care and Glow foundation, and I actually really love this one because it's not heavy and I can build it up properly without it looking patchy and cakey. Next step is concealer, which I like to call the base concealer, which is a pre-concealer before you use your brightening concealer. And for this concealer, you want to go in with a shade that's almost the same as your foundation, but it can also be a warmer undertone, especially if you're going in with brightening concealer, maybe 2 or 3 shades lighter than you. And then I like to let this sit while I'm doing my bronzer. For bronzer, I went in with a sleek dark palette, I believe, and I just picked a shade that is only like 2 or 3 shades darker, but also for this undertone you want it to be quite warm, depending on your general undertone. For example, I'm more of like a neutral undertone, so a reddish bronzer might not look the best on me, but I go in with something that is still quite warm. And then I also particularly picked a brush that is angled so I can get that precision that I want. As you can see, I'm applying this on my cheekbones, but on the lower side of my cheekbones. And then for blush, I mixed in a deep pink with a peach blush. Honestly, you can go with any blush you like as long as it suits you. For this application, I take a smaller brush and I'm working in thin layers. That is the key to getting that blended soft look, is to work and take your time in layers. And you also want to blend as much as you can. And an extra tip I would say is go back in with your foundation brush to blend your blush and bronzer together. This will erase any mark of demarcation so that your whole face looks seamless. Once the concealer has dried, now we're going to blend it out. And I always take a small brush to do this. I don't know how you guys do the whole beauty blender thing. I mean, I do end up doing that after I've blended it out with a brush first. I just find that this way I'm in control of where the concealer goes, which is really, really important, because your concealer placement can make or break your look. And then I went in with the MAC Studio Radiant Concealer in the shade NC35. This is my brightening concealer, and I only really go 2 or 3 shades lighter than my skin, just because I don't really want that whole really, really white under eye. I just don't think it looks good. I'm taking a similar brush shape to blend this out, and I already have a video up on how to blend your concealer, so you can go and watch that. Then you want to go back in with your blush brush just to make sure that every line of demarcation is erased. Moving on to powder. For powder, you want to make sure that your powder is 1, the right undertone, 2, the right shade if it's not a translucent powder, and 3, you want to make sure it's as fine as possible. In terms of the particles, you don't want thick particles because that's how your under eye and your base gets very cakey. So I went in with a Trigwell Velvet Setting Powder. I really like this powder actually. I think it's very fine and thin, and it makes you look airbrushed without looking cakey, and also it just blends well with the rest of my skin. Another powder recommendation I have would be the Laura Mercier Ultra Blur Translucent Powder. If you're a similar skin tone to me, I would suggest getting the shade Honey. I find that makes me look really good. So before we finish off with our base, we're gonna go into the eyeshadow tutorial. This look was very spontaneous, but I started off with a gel eyeliner in my waterline. I find that this helps build the base of the look. Also, if you have really big eyes like I do, this helps give the illusion of smaller eyes. Then I went in with the olive gel eyeliner. This look was very, like I said, it was very spontaneous. I didn't really have a plan in mind. I was just kind of going with the flow. But I'm going to talk you through how to build an eye look that you like. So first things first, like we have established before, is go in with a gel eyeliner. It can be black or it could be a deep brown shade if you don't want it to be too harsh. And then I went in with a brown on my lower lash line. This just makes the look more complete. Usually I start off with the top part of my lid, and when I am building a look, I always start with a neutral brown shade, and I really just lay this down on my lids as kind of like a base. And with the brush choice, you want to use something that's light and fluffy, just so that the eyeshadow spreads in a nice way and it's not looking really patchy and stuff. Now, you have to kind of work with what your eye shape is like. With me, I have a lot of eyelid space, so I can blend as much as I can, and I can put as much eyeshadow in my crease as well because I have a naturally defined crease. So what I do is I put my eyeshadow in there as well, and then I blend it outwards and smoke it out a little bit. And then one thing I would say is definitely build on your neutral colors. I find that this helps with intensity, but also gives your look a little bit of more dimension. When it comes to blending, you definitely want to use back and forth circular motions. As you can see what I'm doing, the look increases in intensity without looking really harsh or really patchy. And you really want to take your time with blending the colors on. You don't want to skip a step, you don't want to rush it, or else it just becomes a whole mess. Especially if you've done your base beforehand, it can be hard to kind of fix. Another thing to build an eyeshadow look, you don't actually need to do too much. If you build a matte base, all you have to add is either a white matte shade on your lids, or you can go in with a shimmer shade. I went in with the silver from the Beauty Crop palette, and then I added some green eyeshadow in my inner corner. I find that this looks good on me. But yeah, definitely invest in a good matte palette. I use the Morphe 35G. I also liked the Danessa Myricks Lightwork palette. Now to tie up the base, I'm going to go in with a powder bronzer, and the reason why I'm doing this is so that my makeup lasts. I find that you have to kind of pair up the creams and the powders. So if you used a cream blush, definitely set with a powder blush, and if you use a cream bronzer, definitely set with a powder bronzer as well. For finishing touches, I applied some lashes. I keep it really simple, and then I also went in with a pressed powder under my eyes. I'm using a fluffy brush for this as well, just to give it a little bit of oomph. And then I do my lips, which I start off with a light brown nude shade. I got this one from Morphe in the shade Bite Me, and I kind of use this as a lip contour just to kind of define the lips a bit. And I'm doing this because I'm going to go in with a shade that's slightly more deep, and I don't want it to look too harsh, so that's why I'm doing this first. And then I went in with the Sephora lip liner in the shade Molasses, and I'm kind of just using this to define the cupid's bow of my lip and like the edges of my lip. Yeah, I don't need to really do this everywhere, but if you want to, you can for sure. And I'm just also adding this for some more intensity. Because the eyes are not crazy, you can get away with a more bold lip. And to tie it off, I'm applying some pink lip gloss. This is from NYX in the shade Creme Brulee, I believe. And that is literally all that I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you learned a lot. If you want that skin prep video, comment below skin prep and let me know what other tutorials and videos you want to see from me, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Bye.